My name is Jaila Simms, also known as King Jaila. I am a singer, songwriter, producer, actress, host, comedian, dancer, arranger, ... And I'm ever evolving and ever growing, so who knows what I'll be in 10 years. I am a transgender woman, and I am a proud trans woman, a woman of the trans experience. But moreover, I am a woman of color who is walking through this life and navigating as a trans woman. I got involved in this Mixtape Capsule by way of mutual friend of the producer Leon. We both know Hubie. I've worked with Hubie on various gigs throughout LA in the music industry. I guess he recommended me to Leon, which was amazing because Hubie's an amazing person, number one, and then it was like I was meeting someone that I'd known before when I met Leon, and he brought me into the project. He just has a great spirit, a great energy, and you could tell that everything that he was saying and everything that he was doing and the purpose behind the project was genuine. I first heard about the project in 2020, so it was about, it was a little over 6 or 7 months ago. So we've been planning this for quite some time to make sure that everything was executed the right way, melding, the artistic side with actually making it make sense with what's actually going on right now. As we know that it's a time capsule, so it's a flashback to the 80s, but a lot of the things that we were thinking about and the themes, the recurring themes were things that we could draw parallels to for right now. In the 80s, I wasn't born. No, I'm joking. I grew up in the 80s, okay? Everyone knows now. I grew up in the 80s. I'm not telling you what year, but I did grow up in the 80s. I was an 80s baby, and I was listening to Push It Real Good when I shouldn't have been listening to Push It Real Good because my granny would always obviously bust in on the room like, what is you listening to? Like I was supposed to be listening to God is trying to tell you something or something like that. But I was being bad and being grown and being fast. But the 80s was a fun time for me. I remember distinctly Janet Jackson's Let's Wait a While. I was so young in the 80s. I mean, barely walking. But it was a good time. For the Mixtape Capsule, I'll be doing Tainted Love, which was not the original song that we had landed on, but I'm so glad that throughout the process and us navigating and trying to figure out what was actually going to work, that we landed on Tainted Love, because it was, an experience like none other. First of all, Hubie produced it. When we initially thought about revamping it and new arrangements and breathing new life into it, at that time I was really inspired by Beyonce's Homecoming. So I was like, Hubie, I want drums, I want marching bands, I want horns, I want all of it. And Hubie literally did it. I hate working with people who always try to minimize your vision. Hubie from the jump was like, okay, I can do it, and this is how we can make it bigger. If someone was to ask me when I first heard Tainted Love, I couldn't put a date on it. I know that it was definitely in the 80s, obviously, but my mom was so eclectic, and my stepdad as well. Like, he was listening to alternative and things like that, classic rock, all of those things. So I know it was probably around the time that my stepdad came into the picture, but Tainted Love, I remember all the time, like Tainted Love, like all of that. It was like, wait, hold on, Tainted Love, there we go. I don't want y'all to think I can really sing, It's hard to describe myself as an artist because I don't fit into a box. I don't fit into a box in life. So art is a space, it's my safe space. It's a place where I don't have to be any particular thing to any particular person for any particular reason other than my purpose and fulfilling my purpose. I feel as an artist, when I create, it is divinely inspired. And I'm not saying that like God is sitting there speaking in my ear like, bitch, you need to write this about him because he fucked you over. None of that stuff. It's more so like I feel it organically as it happens and as it comes out, whether it's based in reality or whether it's based in my mind's eye, both of which are me, and they're genuinely me. If it's fictitious, it's me in my elevated state. It's me in the world that I wish could exist, or the world that I wish didn't exist. I got the it's like I got the Tina Turner starter kit, but then I got the Beyonce upgrade, and then somebody was like, oh, you know what? Like, what about, a little bit Sylvester and, a little bit James Brown going up in there, you know what I'm saying? So it's very aggressive, but I like to think that I can finesse Working with this creative team was a dream come true. And I say that coming from the most sincere place in my heart. I've experienced other situations in where I did not feel safe, I did not feel respected, I did not feel celebrated. And all of those things were not a concern, from Frankie, who choreographed, to James, to Nick, to Marcus, to Leon, the executive producer, to Hubie, the musical director, to everyone that was involved. I felt like it was a safe space to not only be, but to shine. And that's so important as a creative. There's nothing worse than, you know what I'm saying, like, for lack of a better term, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody pouring water on your fire. I'd like to say this about diversity inclusion in pop culture today. In 2009, I won Making His Band. And I was the first transgender to win a reality television show. At that time, it was me. Prior to me, there was Qing on America's Next Top Model, and my dear, both who's my sister, and my dear sister Laverne Cox on I Want to Work for Diddy. Being all three of us women of color and being able to step into the mainstream and into pop culture in that way and in that time, and then now to see the evolution thereof of the seeds that we planted, I think it's mind-blowing. I know that I was born in this time, in this season, for a specific reason, for a purpose. And I'm so glad that I'm actually able to see my ancestors' dreams fulfilled to the maximum. Right now, we're seeing a garden, but I feel like in about 10, 15 years, it's gonna be a forest. And before you know it, it's gonna be all over the continent, honey. It's gonna be like, welcome to Transville! In today's culture, things are difficult for me as a trans artist, especially as a trans artist of color. There are things that I can learn to help myself, and that's what I had to do as an artist. When I first entered into the industry, it was like I was decent, I was solid, I was good, but because I was trans, it didn't matter whether I was on MTV or, you know what I'm saying, a part of the whole Viacom family or anything like that, or affiliated with Diddy or affiliated with this one or that one. None of that mattered when it came to like working with producers on a day-to-day basis, because what ends up happening is they feel as though they may be looked at differently for working with a trans artist. A lot of times there's the romantic, you know, the romantic involvement that they fear, or the perception thereof. And as a result, I had to figure out how to maneuver it. I couldn't let that be a roadblock. I had to say, okay, well, what can I do? Luckily, at the time, I was dating someone who was a producer and who showed me how to produce. Throughout my life, I had to, fill in the gaps where there were gaps. And when people were able to help, then that was all it was. It was help. You add into what I already have going on. And that's just pertaining to my art. Challenges as a trans person of color is a whole nother subject. In my career, I have become the first transgender Grammy-nominated songwriter. I participated in Faith Evans' R&B Divas compilation album in 2012, which garnered a nomination for Best R&B Album, which makes me an Grammy-nominated songwriter. And I've also had the opportunity to not only work in R&B, but in hip-hop and pop. I've worked with Robin Thicke. I've worked with gospel legends such as Karen Clark Sheard and B. Slade. I've been blessed to grace stages with people that I used to literally look up to and pray and wish and hope that I would one day be able to do, and I get paid to do it. And there's nothing more gratifying than doing what you love and getting paid to do it. But like my granny always said, don't do what you love for free. So amazing that Sharp House and Leon have collaborated with True Colors United and help fight LGBT homelessness, especially concerning youth, because I literally have friends who have had to live on the streets and figure out a way to make ends meet, and I know that at that time what they wanted more than anything was just a helping hand. And to see the work that True Colors does throughout the community, throughout the year, and has done for so many years, is just so empowering. And to know that Sharp House collaborated with them to make this possible, it's amazing to know that the benefits from this particular project are going to help so many other people. My album, God Save the King, will be released on May 4th. So make sure you go and download my album. It is a full-length album. It is right now currently 23 tracks, 23 records. I have some amazing features, but more so I'm proud of the album in its entirety. It's taken me about 2 years to work on. Also, I'm working on developing a few scripts. But yeah, make sure y'all go and download and stream and share and repost.